Welcome to the Burrow.
A podcast where we discuss our favourite books and have a bit of a laugh. Hi, I'm Chloe.
And I'm Megan. I use any pronouns, and I'm from Canada.
I use she, her pronouns, and I'm from the UK.
Okay, how are we doing today?
Not too bad. Although, like I said, I want to mention something very sad. Right now, like currently, Dev and Hanson on the West End are doing their last performance.
Oh my god.
They started it like it's almost 8, so they started half an hour ago, and it's their last ever performance.
Oh my
And I'm
god.
really sad. I really want them to tour it because America, they're touring Devon Hanson right now. Like, so technically they still have it, and we don't have it after tonight, and that just makes me really sad.
At least you've gone to see it. You've gone to see it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I just think, I don't know. I just think it's after I went to see it, I think it's such an important show.
It is, honestly.
Because like now I'm looking at the West End now, and after obviously Devon Hanson is gone, most of the shows are either jukeboxes or American that have like no mental health representation in it at all, which kind of sucks. Which actually ties into this episode.
It does.
About it. Yeah, so this episode we're gonna have a little discussion about male mental health.
Which is really important. We need to talk about it.
Because obviously mental health in general is like super important, but with males in particular, because like previously we've discussed gender stereotypes that like really feeds into mental health, particularly with people who identify as male.
Oh yes.
But oh yeah, how are you feeling?
I'm doing
What's
good.
been going on with you?
Today hasn't been much. Today I woke up, had
Well
breakfast.
done.
We took my dogs to the groomers, and then here
Cool.
I am.
Here you are.
Yeah, during the week. No, I went to go see a play though. The play was
Oh yeah.
yeah, it was really good, but there were some minor problems with it. I think I told you about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the sad thing is, I think it's like a newer like new musical, no music, new play.
You play.
I think so, which is sad because okay, so it's called Network. It's kind of based. It's like a kind of news broadcasting company called UBS with a newscaster named what's his name, Harold Beale, and he gets fired, and then he says on live TV that he's gonna like commit suicide the next Monday on live TV,
Oh my god.
and then that causes a whole ruckus and it kind of messes up the whole show. But like, anyway, he does end up dying in the end. They make a lot of jokes relating to Southeast Asians and terrorists, and it's just and like it's not funny. I don't care if that was like kind of based on what like I think it was based around like the 1980s, 1990s. I assume around where like 9/11 was.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't care if it was based around then. It's still not funny.
Yeah. No.
Like
No.
you didn't need to keep that in. You didn't need to put that in.
Speaking of like original stuff, I feel like in general, particularly with Broadway and West End, we need like so much more of them, or like not even more of them, but like give people more of an opportunity to like workshop their work and stuff.
Oh my god.
Because I feel like more on Broadway, the theatre just isn't that diverse anymore.
No.
Here a little bit more, I think, but I don't know. It just bothers me a little bit that it's just like the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Hopefully you'll get a bit better, but for now,
I
yeah.
think so. Introduce the argument thing.
Yeah, argument. Okay. So this is kind of a discussion on like since we're doing mental health, on like healthcare in Canada versus the UK.
Isn't that similar, or is it not?
I think it is similar, but like
More similar than it is with the US, right?
yeah. Like do you get things like is healthcare like completely free for you?
Although sometimes when you're an adult, you have to pay for your prescriptions, but like getting an appointment and going to the hospital, you don't have to pay for anything.
I think that's how it is for us. I think
So,
I know
so like
prescriptions you have to pay unless you have insurance.
And also like to get braces when you're an adult. When you're a child, it's fine, but when you're an adult, and retainers, because I know you have to pay for retainers. When they cost money.
Oh,
But
yeah, no,
that's
my parents had to pay for my
yeah.
my braces.
Oh, they had to pay for your braces.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when you got your braces?
15 or 16.
Oh, so they had to pay for that. Okay.
Yeah, they had to pay for the whole thing.
I think mostly here it's free unless you're getting like if you really need that, because I really needed them. Like from year 7, they knew they knew I needed them, but I couldn't get them until all my baby teeth came out. So I literally didn't get them until I think year 10 or year 11. It took that long for like all my teeth to actually come out.
Okay.
But yeah, like so say if you like God forbid you were to go to the hospital and you like needed an x-ray or whatever, you wouldn't have to pay for that, right?
You might.
Really?
I don't know.
Like
I
it's
don't.
health, because I know in America, because I've watched some medical dramas, so I know a little bit. In America, they literally have to pay for everything that they do to them at the hospital.
I think it
Like
really
if they were,
depends.
like if they were to get scans and stuff. Yeah, because they
Well,
have health
supposedly it's
insurance
like
and all that stuff that they need to have like a plan and money for.
I know for like getting like needles, like for example, if I'm getting like a like blood taken out um for my like medications, so you can see if it's like if it's working, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
That I don't have to pay for. I don't think. I think that's free.
Let me actually Google it and I'll have a
Yeah.
look. Do go away. Do Canadians have to pay for scans? Pay for hospital scans. Let's have a look. I think if you go privately, then it costs money. But if you go like what's your healthcare thing called? Do you
What
have
do
a
you
name
mean?
for it? Like we have the NHS, National Health Service. Like what's yours called? You don't know?
I guess Canada Medicare counts.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Anyway,
All right. So my one, I'm gonna steal off you, which you told me like I don't know, like 20 minutes ago. What do you call this season we're in right now?
I know. Yeah, I call it fall, which I know is an
Yeah,
American
no, I
thing.
know you and Americans say fall, but I call it autumn. That's all I have to say.
I mean, like both of them. We have. I guess we have called it autumn in some classes before.
Fall just annoys me. I don't. There's just certain like I know
It
you're
makes
not
sense though.
but certain Americanisms that just annoy me.
It does make
And I'm not
sense.
saying I know, but I don't like it. It's just like
I love
it just
you get
reminds me.
so annoyed over our languages, and it's not that
No,
big of a
no,
deal.
because
Because I don't get pissed off at your languages at all. I'm like, it's fine. It's not a big
no,
deal.
because do you know what it is? Do you know why it is? It's because we've been I know you're not American, but you have some similarities. But American TV and film and music has been shoved down our throats like our whole life. So I'm always like hearing fall and I'm like, it's just annoying. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm. True.
Um, I don't know why it's called autumn. Why is it called autumn?
I
Autumn's
mean, a lot of like American shows were shoved down my throat, but I appreciated it.
yeah, but the language just fucking annoys me. Sorry, it actually really annoys me because all I can hear is just those annoying Americans. I'm like, can you stop? I don't like it. The name is thought to originate in the phrase. Oh, I don't know. It says both fall and autumn originate from Britain, but the US just chose fall and we chose autumn.
Hmm.
It wasn't till the 1800s that we were separated in like fall and autumn. I don't know.
It's fine. We have
Fine.
enough time to do? Do we have enough time to
A
do
quote.
book club? Yeah.
Yeah, you can go first.
Yeah. Okay. So we don't usually do book quotes for these episodes, but
But it
I have
relates to the episode. So
yeah, these books relate to the episodes. So the quote I have is it's called the quote is just remember that you can't help others or before helping yourself. And it's from a book called You'll Get Through This Night by Daniel Howell or Dan Howell. Who if you have been on the internet, you definitely know who Dan Howell is.
Yeah.
Maybe unless if you're like really old, you might not know who Dan Howell is. But if you're around like our age,
Not you
then
just calling people old.
no. But I mean, if you're like a senior, I don't think a senior will listen to our podcast. But
Yeah.
the most people know who Dan is. And here's the book itself. I have it on me. It's like
Oh, that looks
on
like
the
a cool cover.
yeah, it's really cool. Da-da-da-da-da. It's like as it says on the back, it's like a nonsense guide that teaches you about like mental health and how to deal with it,
Cool.
and then also kind of shares his own story with mental health. It's really cool. I haven't read like the whole thing through, but
Mhm.
I've read bits of it and it's helped. So
Cool.
I'd suggest getting it.
So
Of
I have
course.
a quote from a book that I've talked about a little bit before. And it's called It's Not Okay to Feel Blue and Other Lies, which is like the person who created it is called Scarlett Curtis, who has gone through kind of depression and anxiety like a lot of other people. And she kind of accumulated together a bunch of like famous people who you wouldn't think are struggling but are, and they kind of have little sections where they talk about stuff, whether that's like just full on talking about it or like submitting a poem or like a song
Yeah.
about their experience. So a quote I have is from the creator of it. At the beginning of the book, she kind of talks a bit about her and her experience with it. So this quote is, "It's okay to be not okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to stay in bed." And it's like kind of like a whole paragraph where there's it's okay to like whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I really like kind of some of the stuff that she wrote in it, because when you're reading it, it like really makes you be like, wow, that's like me as well. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was the only one thinking about these sorts of things.
Yeah.
So I think I definitely recommend that book because it's really good in like making you feel like you're not the only person with these
Mm-hmm.
kinds of things. So yeah.
Yeah. We love mental health. Tried to get into the big chat on men's mental health.
Sorry. I don't know why I did that. Do
you want to start?
Yeah, I can start. So without like delving into a bit of research I did, generally my view on it, which I've talked a little bit about already, is that for boys and men, like anyone who identifies as male, it's a lot harder for them because they have this like don't cry mentality, where a lot of them have been raised up in like toxic like masculinity type kind of household, where it's like, oh no, boys can't cry because it's a sign of weakness, and it's kind of more taboo with males than it is females,
Yeah.
because obviously stereotypically we're more sensitive and all of that. I feel like more so now maybe a bit than before, there's some households where they're being raised up to like just cry and just feel their emotions, but
Yeah.
it's not as many as it should be. So that's kind of my view on it, like overall as a kind of topic.
Yeah, my view is like pretty similar. Like, well, from like some of the research I did, it's very like it's common between like all men,
Yeah.
but it's more like the stigma of not talking about your your mental health problems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or, like heavily on masculine men. Masculine men take on that role a lot more. They don't talk about their emotions as much
Yeah.
compared to more feminine men. I'm not saying as more feminine. It is kind of stereotyped. Talk about your feelings is more stereotyped to be feminine.
I feel like even though with feminine men, they've still raised up to be like,
I
you
know.
can't cry.
Yeah.
Even by their mums as well, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously heavily on their dads, but I feel like just generally, like as a society,
It's
it's
just that mentality. Yeah.
you know that what's it called? That saying, man up.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what.
why is it man up? Because men are supposed to like be strong and like if you're crying or something, you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
for God's sake, just man up. Like that
Mm-hmm.
just makes me think of that, and how that's just a saying that like I say that my mom says that sometimes because it's just like a thing, and you don't think about it, and it's like, well, does that just mean that men have to just like ignore it, and then the more they ignore it, like the more because the more you bottle up things, the more it just like keeps going until like some,
It'll come out as a burst.
yeah, until like the smallest thing triggers it, and then like who knows what happens, you know.
Mm-hmm.
um
Really bad mentality to have.
yeah, so I
And
did, oh sorry, no, you go first.
I want to, from some of the stuff I was like researching on,
Hmm.
like there's nothing like manly about suffering in silence.
Yeah, yeah,
Like keeping it all to yourself, that's not not manly, not strong, not tough. You're just hurting yourself in the process.
yeah, I think it's stronger to actually talk about your emotions because it's a
Yeah.
hard thing to do. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's I'm not saying hiding your emotions is a weak thing, but
No.
the reason why they don't open up is because they think it's weak, when in reality I think that takes a really strong person to be able to do that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
um but I did a bit of research on this website called mentalhealth.org.uk, which is really good for like support on resources and finding more about mental health in general, as well as specifically with males as well. So I found a few statistics, and the first one I have is 3 times as many men as women die by suicide, which speaks like volumes,
Yes, a lot.
because women are more prone to talk about their emotions because people around them make them feel comfortable with doing it,
Yes.
and they feel like they can. And then with men, when you have that don't cry mentality and that sort of stuff, they bottle it up to the point where they can't deal with it anymore, so they resort to measures like that, which is why I think they have like a higher rate of suicide than women do. Not to diminish like women's like mental health, but I
Yeah.
think it's like different kinds of things.
Yeah.
And then I also
Yeah.
have men are less likely to access help or therapy than women. And there's a little small statistic that says only 36% of the NHS therapy referrals are men.
Mm-hmm.
That's like such a small amount.
Yeah. I want to mention something
Mm,
because while I was doing research, I don't remember the site. I think I have it saved, but they said for like older men and boys,
yeah,
like it was like an interview with people, they weren't as willing to like use a school-based system like counselors because the stigma attached to seeking help and admitting their difficulties was like kind of too much. They just didn't do it. And like places like gyms and physical activity has become like a way to help like relieve the emotions or stress they have, which is not like it's with a lot of people, not just men, but it's more commonly
yeah,
with men.
yeah. It is a good like outlet, but then it gets to that point where you're not looking at the cause to whatever it is
Yeah.
you're feeling. Like they could be experiencing something like bipolar disorder and they wouldn't know because they're not telling anyone or talking to anyone about it.
Yeah.
um because obviously I feel like I'm not quite sure because I didn't do the research, but I think there are some mental disorders that men are more likely to develop
Mm-hmm.
than women. And like if they don't kind of like if they're worried or something, or they need to like talk about something that's upsetting them, um then like they don't get that discovered or diagnosed, which I think is really important, because when you know what's going on you can manage it, like whether that
Yeah.
be with medication or with like different types of therapy. You can, most of the time you can find a way. Obviously it's not
Yeah.
easy, because like for example with medication for stuff, you have to find the right balance because sometimes it's not right for that person.
Oh yeah, no.
um like sometimes it makes people feel actually worse, so then you have to like either change the medication or like change the dosage. So like it is hard, but like when you eventually get it right, then it just feels like that much better, I think.
Yeah. Well, like with my medication, it took a little bit to
Mm,
figure out the exact balance that worked.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also have from that website, which we talked a bit about, is that gender stereotypes really damage men. So, for example, they're called like breadwinners. They're the people who are supposed
Oh
to
my God, that
provide,
whole thing.
yeah, who are supposed to like provide, be on top of things, not like at a crack.
Yeah.
And it's that don't cry thing again. It's like it's okay to cry. Like
Yeah.
it's fine. And I think when they realize that, then like because I feel like they kind of build up a wall because obviously they're not like allowed to cry or show emotion.
Well, yeah.
When they do realize that, then it might just all come flooding out because repressing emotions is like not healthy at all.
Yeah, no.
Even if it's just like something small, like you're really pissed off at someone because they did something that really hurt you, like even repressing that is still like not good.
No.
Because even if it's a little thing, like it just builds and builds and builds until you reach
And I
that
think it's
point.
too much. Yeah.
And depending on the individual, on how they cope with that boiling point, it can get like really dangerous.
I'm just going through my notes right now. I want to go over like society's influence and like
Yeah.
masculinity and like men's mental health in like shows or TV and stuff like that. Just promoting
That's a good one. Yeah, go ahead.
Like where was I start with that?
Oh, hiccup.
Let me start there. But a lot in the class I took about boys, men, and masculinity, we talked about stuff like that. Like it starts off early from like children's shows. Like for example, the movie Lego Batman.
Yeah.
The main character Batman, he's like strong, buff. He flexes his muscles all the time. He doesn't cry, doesn't show his emotions ever.
Yeah.
It shows like a really bad like view of like what a young boy should be.
Yeah, because then if they're looking up to him, because he's a role model for a lot of little boys,
Yeah, like Batman is a.
Especially if they're into comics and that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't actually think about that, but that is really true. Like even from a young age, it's kind of like embedded in them.
Yeah, like superheroes are a big part of, you know, the like growing up, like your influence.
That's
Because they're
why,
cool.
yeah, that's why like more recently with Marvel, they're showing the human side of it and the effects.
Yeah.
Like I think specifically with Bucky, because do you know a little bit about Marvel?
No, not much.
Okay, I'll do like a quick recap. Bucky was Captain America's friend, so they kind of fought on the wall together. And then this organization kind of brainwashed him to make him become an assassin. So he killed a lot of innocent people. So that's like tons of trauma.
Yeah.
Kind of in this TV series that they did, they were showing like his journey to like self-acceptance and stuff. And because he had a therapist, so that was really cool to see. He hated his therapist, but I think more recently with Marvel, they're showing, because being a superhero, like it's great, but you're killing people, not all the time,
really
but like
good about it, but
and that's like traumatic.
Yeah,
like you're actually hurting and killing someone. So I think it's interesting to see not just that, oh, I'm a superhero, I'm so cool and powerful, but also like the downside to it as well.
Yeah, of course. It's just, yeah. I like that now they're starting to show the human, like, actual human parts of a character.
Yeah.
Not just showing, like, the stereotypes of what that certain kind of person should be.
Yeah.
And about Lego Batman, for example, like, it does get better in the film. Like, Lego Batman. I'm not sure I haven't seen much of the regular Batman, but in this one, he does understand and learn that crying and showing emotions are a good thing.
Cool, yeah.
And caring for people is a good thing. But there were so many other films. Like there's a film called Me, Myself, and Irene, which is about a guy named Charlie, who's played by what's his name? He plays the Grinch, I think, at some point. Like the live action Grinch.
Oh, I don't know.
I think so. He's very expressive. I don't remember his name. Oh, is it Jim Carrey? No, maybe I don't know. Jim Carrey. But anyway, this guy, he's very. He kind of. I think what's he have? I think he has like some kind of dissociative identity disorder, something similar to that, where he has two identities. But one is like him, and then one is like very, very like alpha male toxic masculinity. And you see how like he kind of represses all his emotions and takes it out in anger,
Okay, yeah.
which is a kind of common. I'm not sure if it's a stereotype, but actually it's a thing to happen.
That
But it's
happens
not just made, but
that happens a lot with dissociation, because the reason why it happens is because you repress stuff, and that repressed stuff subconsciously, if I'm right, I think I'm right, forms that
yeah,
other personality. So say
yeah,
you've repressed like anger because you've gone through trauma and you're angry about what happened, that separate personality is the main focus is going to be that person's like super angry
yeah,
because
exactly.
they've repressed like these negative things that have happened, sort of thing. Hello. Hello. Oh my god. Megan. Hello.
No, you made me pause. You're frozen.
Hello.
Hi, yeah, you're frozen.
I'm frozen.
Why is my connection unstable as well?
It's not my connection. What do you mean it's okay now? I can't see you. Oh my god. Oh, I can see you now. Hello.
Okay, hi.
Okay, continue. What were you saying?
I was saying about. Oh, we're talking about
Film.
the film and how like all his negative emotions kind of went into one identity and got a bit, and that's how we took out all his anger, anger was through that identity.
Yeah.
But I also that's a common thing. People repress all their emotions to the point where it gets too much.
Yeah.
And then they'll take it out. I know some people take it out in like sadness, like cry and they have breakdowns. Some people take it out in like anger. That's like the main two.
It depends on
Anger or sadness. Yeah.
it depends on the person.
Yeah.
It depends on how you cope with stuff.
Yeah,
Your
exactly.
coping mechanisms and things like that. But speaking of like TV and film, one TV show that I just thought of that I think is really good with talking about mental health is Scam,
Yes,
which
oh my
is
god.
which is a Norwegian drama show which has been like remade in like Germany, Belgium, like France, pretty much
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah, everywhere.
And it's a really good show. It deals every season. It goes from a perspective of a different character, and it looks at different really like important themes.
Yeah.
So in terms of mental health, they kind of look at it generally over all of the seasons because they are teens dealing with teen issues.
Well,
But
yeah.
more specifically, in season 3, they look at it a lot. Season 3 centers around a lot of internalized homophobia with the main character. And that main character's love interest, you see him and you realize that he has bipolar disorder. And in the other remakes, they might change it a little bit, but it is mainly mental health centered.
Yeah.
And it's like the main character kind of like realizing that about them and kind of dealing with that and seeing how that character with the mental illness deals with that and kind of their journey into recovery, and just kind of showing that recovery isn't easy.
Yeah, no.
Mental health isn't easy, like we all know that. But yeah, which I really like because it feels really raw and really real, and I think that's really good when you're looking at these kind of issues, because then you can watch the show and you can be like, oh, I know someone like that, or that's me, like I can see myself in that kind of situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally I would just recommend Scam because they just like,
It's not talked about enough, honestly. I didn't
no,
know until you mentioned it.
yeah, a lot of people know about it, but it's niche. I feel like it's still niche. But I think the show was
I
made
don't even think a lot of people know about it. If I mentioned to friends where like I'm from, they wouldn't know what it is.
oh really, it was made like way back in 2012, 2010.
That's probably also adds to it.
But it's been remade in a lot of countries, and it's really cool to see them do their own kind of spin on it. And it's also interesting to watch it from a cultural point of view, because some of the stuff I'm like, oh wow, that's really cool that they do that, because obviously
Yeah.
they're different countries. But yeah, generally I would really recommend it because the themes and the stuff they look at is just really important and just really like poignant as well. But I just recommend it to everyone I know. I'm just like, please watch it. Like, do you know what? I know a lot of people know Young Royals because that's on Netflix. And when I first, I know, when I first
So
watched
excited.
Young Royals, I was like, I definitely get Scum vibes from it because it just feels really
It
real.
does, yeah.
Even though one of the characters is in the royal family, and you're like, you can't relate to that, obviously, but it just still feels like super grounded in reality.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like if you like that show, you'll definitely like Scum. And it's gay as well at points, so I mean,
It is gay.
you've got to love it. But yeah, I think it's my rant is over about Scum, but I think it's a really great show.
It is. It's such a good show. Anyway, continuing on.
Yeah.
I can go into so much more films about it. Oh my god. What were other? Yeah, sorry, my brain is.
No, it's
Do
good.
you have more points?
Yeah, I can say something if you want.
Okay, yeah, so I can figure out.
Cool. Okay, so do you know Mind?
Mhm.
It's like a big mental health charity. Do you know it? Oh wow, no, you don't. I don't know if it's UK or if it's whatever. So
Probably
Mind is a
UK.
really big. No, I think it's all over maybe. Mind is like a really big mental health charity. Yeah, like resources and stuff like that. People who struggle with mental health.
Okay.
And on their website, there was a blog post by this guy called Lee in 2017 talking about male mental health in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of writing about how men find it harder talking about struggles compared to women, which obviously we know because of that societal like ingrained thing where it's like you have to be strong and crying and feeling stuff isn't strong, which obviously we know is not true. Because and then he also went on to talk about the stereotypes of men having to be like powerful and dominant, you know, the man of the house, that sort of thing. And then he talked about that expression man up, which I talked a little bit about earlier, which is just interesting to look at some sayings because I feel like you say it subconsciously, like in a situation where like someone is, I don't know, like say someone's broken up with their boyfriend and like they're really sad about it and they're like depressed or whatever. You'd be like, oh, like come on, man up, like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And then because it's a subconscious thing, like I like so many people say it and then you don't really realize what it means. Because if you were to say woman up, in my head that doesn't sound right, but that's because all I've known is man up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
And man
that's
up, I don't know, it just sounds really wrong.
yeah,
Oh, and just both of them sound wrong. Man up sounds wrong because just you're promoting
that toxic
toxic
masculinity.
masculinity.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, can talk about another film if you have anything.
I can. Oh my god, I have so many
Yeah,
other films.
talk about films. I love it.
What was yeah, the Me, Myself, and Irene, that was a good one. Lego Batman, obviously. You don't know who Terry Fox is. There's a guy in Canada. We do this every single year. I mean, it's not that big anymore. I think when did Terry Fox? He was a guy. He ran. There's a thing called the Terry Fox Marathon. No one really does it. Terry Fox. He had cancer. He had like cancer in his leg, I believe.
Oh wow, okay.
And he decided to run all the way across Canada. If you've seen, Canada is massive.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's huge. He decided to run all the way across Canada.
Oh wow.
And he only had one leg. No, actually, no, he had two legs, but one was like a limping leg. Like a prosthetic leg.
Oh, yeah.
Prosthetic, yeah. And he ran all the way across Canada for cancer. He didn't make it the whole way, I don't think, because it got too much.
Wait, did he recover from cancer and that's why he had the prosthetic
No,
leg?
he passed away.
Oh.
He passed away.
Hmm. Sad.
But yeah, there was like a whole thing of that. And I read an article a bit ago about Terry Fox. And like his thing was like amazing, his idea was amazing. But Terry Fox became like kind of like the masculine ideal in Canada.
Okay, yeah.
like the fit, strong, like, you know, kind of superhero sort of person.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, it's kind of damaging. Like his idea was great, as I said,
Yeah.
but the thought that, you know, you kind of have to be athletic or strong and stuff like that, be able to do that kind of thing. It's just, it's not, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah,
Not
it's
great.
not like it's not attainable, and then
Yeah,
when
exactly.
people like measure themselves up against other people, not just with males, with females a lot as
Yeah,
well. When you measure yourself up, you're like, how do I get that? Like I'm not that, and then it makes you feel like you're just
yeah.
like your self-esteem just is really bad.
Hmm.
There's like this concept in psychology where you have your self-image, which is how you see yourself, and then you
Hmm.
have like the image you want to be, something like that. And if they don't match, then there's like this incongruence that can lead
Yeah.
to feelings of depression and stuff like that, and anxiety as well.
Hmm.
So it's that thing kind of when there's a person that represents, let's say, toxic masculinity and
Yeah.
all of that, like being strong physically and emotionally, being the provider and all of that
Hmm.
stuff. If you don't match it, then you just feel like you're not a man.
Yeah,
You know, that
exactly.
concept of like, oh, what is a man? Like, be a man.
Hmm.
Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And it can mean whatever you want it to mean, really, to be
Mhm.
honest.
And like we're not saying like it's bad to be masculine or strong or, you know, all those things. But it's just like the stereotype is kind of damaging.
It's fine if you're strong. I mean,
Yeah.
go be strong physically, like go
Yeah.
you. But
Good you,
I
yeah.
think reinforcing that you have to be if you're a man or
Hmm.
you're male, whatever, I think that's just like really dangerous,
It is,
really
yeah.
damaging because you don't have to be.
It's
Um,
like the whole thing with like femininity where you have to be like elegant or how to wear dresses, how to wear makeup, have to be slim, have to have, you know, your body has to be in a certain way.
you're
It's also very
um,
damaging.
treated like you're glass, you're delicate, you're all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're no one, you know. Also no one's perfect, honestly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because I feel a lot like in general, you know, like if you call yourself a feminist, you
Hmm.
just like hate on men, which isn't the idea of being a
Yeah,
feminist.
no.
The idea is that you want both genders to be equal. And then
Hmm.
if you're looking at it in terms of mental health, women are a little bit higher than men are in terms of that equality.
Yeah.
Um, and then in other areas, men are a lot higher, and then women need to get that equality. So I
Hmm.
feel like obviously women have their own different struggles to men.
Yeah,
Uh,
everyone has
but
their own struggles.
yeah, um, but I think that's an important thing to think about as well. When you're calling yourself a feminist, it's just honestly, it's just simple as you want equality for both genders.
For
Uh,
everyone. All
yeah,
genders.
yeah, no, actually, for everyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And a lot of people are intimidated by the word feminist because they're like, oh no, they're like radical and they're like they hate
Mhm.
people, which
It's like,
isn't
no.
true. It shouldn't be true. Um, I don't want
Like
to hang out
some,
with those
yes.
people. Um, but yeah, I also found some interesting resources which I thought I'd talk about just in case
Yeah,
anyone's
go for it.
struggling, you might want to like go look at them. So
Hmm.
there's something called the Men's Health Forum, which I think is a pretty good resource, and I looked into a little bit.
Hmm.
And their kind of aim and mission statement is they want to change the high rate of deaths in men regarding health. So they want to kind of, especially mental health in particular, because like we
Hmm.
said, they bottle it up and up until they then go to like extreme coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
So the mental health forum is kind of a place though that men feel comfortable to talk about it, and to get the help they need. So like they have kind of information for kind of therapies and hotline
Hmm.
kind of places they can talk about their feelings. And then I also found another website called Man Health, which is they build a network of male peer support groups across the UK, helping men to manage and prevent their mental health conditions.
Hmm.
So it's kind of nice because they're in a safe place with other men who are going through like mental health issues. So they're all kind of in
Yeah.
this boat. So I think that makes them feel more comfortable to talk about it. And then it will make themselves feel better for it anyway. So yeah, those are the two kind of resources that I looked at. One of them being the UK, and I think the other is perhaps worldwide. But I think if
Okay.
you were to go on to like any mental health charity, like Mind is a big one. They have like a tab full of like loads of resources that can help
How is
you.
it? Is Mind a worldwide thing?
It is, because I've seen Americans donate to it. Mind is Mind a world charity? Oh, is it? It is UK. It's England.
Yeah, I was like, I've never heard of Mind.
Because I've always heard of Mind growing up, but I guess not.
Wait, maybe.
Maybe not actually. Okay. Yeah, no, it is the UK.
Is there? Do you know? Is it like Young Minds or just Mind?
It's called Mind.
Okay.
This is what it looks like. If you look at the top, that's their kind of logo.
It's so white I can't see.
Do you see the blue at the top?
The screen is very white.
Yeah, but you can see
Kind
the
of.
scribble, can't you?
Kind of. I see the blue around the search bar.
No, like go up in the corner. There's a blue scribble. I can see it through the screen.
Oh, there I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before it was just like all white.
Yeah, no. But yeah. Do you want to say something?
Sure. Yeah. The brain. What's that? What were we talking about anyway?
I was just finishing off talking about resources.
Resources? Oh yeah, that's great. A lot of stuff I had we mentioned like a lot. Oh yeah, okay, I want to mention this one point. Like crying or showing emotion doesn't make you like any less of a person. Doesn't make you any less of a man to cry or anything. And like you said, like being a man has like many definitions. Like, you know, you can be a man and you can be more feminine, you can be more masculine, you can be androgynous, you can be whatever you want to be. You can wear whatever you want. You can, you know, wear makeup. You can not wear makeup.
Speaking of, I want to talk a bit about Joshua Bassett. Do you know a bit about him?
I've heard the name, yeah.
Yeah, so he was on High School Musical, the series with Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And obviously there was a lot of drama over that, but I don't really want to talk about that part. So he's been like, which I really appreciate about him, he's been so open about his mental health and his struggles with mental health on social media, using his platforms to raise awareness for it. And just being like completely open and vulnerable and like showing other men that it's okay, like feel things, go to therapy if you need to, like it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and also recently he released a song called, I think it's called Crisis, which talked about sorry, it's called Lifeline. Kind of, it was a song about how he was going through a really stressful time and he eventually ended up in the hospital, and how his mum is a lifeline to him. So that's kind of what the song was about. And 100% of all the proceeds from that song were donated to mental health organizations, which
awesome.
I love it. I absolutely love that. Because he didn't have to do that, but he did, and I think that shows a lot about his character as a person. And he's also, I don't know if you know this guy, he does a podcast and he's called Zach Sang, and he does some really, you should check out his podcast. He does some really amazing interviews, kind of like really delves into mental health and like kind of deeper things than just like you know, surface interviews with celebrities. So
that's
Joshua,
good though.
Yeah, you should check it out, it's really good. Joshua did an interview with him and it was like so open and vulnerable, just like talking about, I think they touched a bit on the drama with Olivia Rodrigo and like the impact that had on him, and just like his mental health and his struggles, and obviously more lighthearted things as well. But I watched that interview. I can't remember how long ago it came out, but I really appreciated him more as a person after watching it. And just like seeing, I know I said it a lot, but just like how open he was, because I think he's
Mhm.
a really good role model for like younger men.
He is,
Like
yeah.
show that it's okay to talk about your feelings, and it's okay because he's doing it in the public
Mhm.
eye as well, and like
Yeah.
he is being attacked for it by some people.
Mhm.
Like he's been open about talking about how he was a victim of sexual assault when he was younger, and then you see a
Okay.
lot of people like attacking him for it, for him like talking about his experiences with his mental health struggles and trauma that he's
Yeah.
in the past. And then that's kind of, you see that and you're like, well, that's why men don't talk about it, because
Mhm.
they know they're going to have that backlash. So I think it's just good that he did that, knowing that that would probably happen, just because he knew that at least him talking about it would help one person, because there could be like
Yes.
one young man out there who has maybe gone through something similar to Josh, and he's keeping it up and it's like bottling up and being like in his head all the
Mhm.
time, and then he sees that and he's like, well, maybe I can tell someone,
Yeah,
or
maybe.
maybe I can like talk about it and it will be fine.
Mhm.
Which I think, I don't know, I really wanted to mention him because I think he's a big
It's good,
role
yeah.
model at the moment for mental health with men,
Mhm.
and it's gonna
I
run out soon.
True. I want to mention Dan again because
Yeah,
well, he
yeah,
was a
yeah,
big part of like my growing up, like a really big part, and he's gone through a lot.
yeah.
He well, he's gay, but he didn't come out like officially, like fully until I think like to the internet until 2019.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Um,
I didn't know
until
that.
like point, he didn't come out, but everyone was talking about it, but that made him very uncomfortable. That
Yeah,
bothered his and like ruined his mental health because people talked about him and Phil a lot
yeah,
because people like to gossip. Like it goes back to the parasocial relationship sort of thing. When
yes.
people
I
think
was thinking about that too. Yeah,
yeah, think they're close enough with people that they can ask questions about, for example, their relationships,
yeah.
and that made both Dan and Phil uncomfortable. And then Phil was in the closet for a while. Like he was out, but then he went back in the closet for Dan. And then just after he came out, like Dan came out, he started talking about his mental health and his story and like made this whole book. And then he's going on tour right now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
I didn't know
that's
that.
kind of talking about like mental health, but in like a fun way.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just think it's important for more kind of, so generally, I think particularly with males who are like considered celebrities and who are like really admired by
Yeah.
the general public, I think it's really important for them to open up and talk about their own mental health struggles,
Mhm.
because obviously, like we said before, they are put on a pedestal,
They are,
and if
yeah.
they open up about that, you're like, oh, they're just human, like they experience
Mhm.
stuff like I do, which obviously, like, if
Obviously.
especially with celebrities, when they're like full on like immersed in it and you have the paparazzi, like you'd
Mhm.
be insane to not experience like a little bit of anxiety when it comes to
Yeah, of
that.
course.
So for them to like maybe sometimes to open up about that, it really kind of grounds them in reality, and it's
Mhm.
like, well, yeah, they go through these things just like we do sometimes.
Mhm.
And then that might really open up to little boys or young men, adult men, whoever, to then kind of be like, well, if they can talk about it, maybe I can start to talk
Yeah,
about it,
exactly.
and I can accept that, yeah, maybe I do feel anxiety sometimes, or maybe sometimes I do feel really low, but that's okay. I just think that's very important.
It is, yeah.
So I did talk about this a little bit at the beginning, but the book It's Not Okay to Feel Blue in Other Lives, I think, is very important for mental
Mhm.
health in general. And it has a variety of women and men there, and I think maybe non-binary people, I'm not too sure, in it, who just talk about their own experiences,
Mhm.
kind of reflect on it, what they've learned maybe, or they do it in a creative way, whether that be like a poem, a rap, like a verse in a song or
Yeah.
something. Because I know Ben Platt wrote a little poem, I believe, about his anxiety.
This is random, but my work has started playing Ben Platt over the speaker a lot. And every time I hear it, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I get so excited. Anyway, I'll cut that out.
But yeah, that book also was kind of important for me because when I was reading that book was a time where like I was not very good emotionally. I think it was around the time when I was doing my GCSEs, and I
Okay.
was obviously like really stressed and really anxious, and a lot of stuff like emotionally was going on with me as well.
Yeah.
And reading that book was like, I don't want to say life changing, but it was like really important for me at that time because I felt like I knew I wasn't alone, but at the same time I felt like I was alone in my feelings.
Yeah.
And then I read it and it was like not like a lot, maybe hundreds, like hundreds of people who were writing about their experiences, whether that be their current experiences or the ones that they've had from when they were young.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like relate to a lot of the people who are writing in this book. um and it was like a kind of really like emotional moment for me because I was like, so this is not just like a me thing, this is just like a universal thing that happens to a lot of people. So yeah, I just generally think it's a good book to read because it just has that feeling of you're not alone in this. Like there are a lot of people out there who are going through these similar things, but it's just not talked about a lot, which is
Yeah.
why you feel like it's just you, when in reality there's like it could be the person sitting next to you on the bus and you don't know what's going through someone's head unless like they talk to you about it. So I just think that book is very good for that
It
sort
is,
of thing.
yeah. Yeah, I think we're gonna like mention like both of these books in the description of
Yeah,
the episodes. I'll probably put a link to it on Amazon or something if you want to go buy it, or like a
yeah.
synopsis of it, because both their books are really good.
I think my one is a little bit on the pricey side, but it's like really thick.
Um,
It's like, yeah, it's a very thick book because it has
Mine's
a
still
lot of.
pricey as well. Mine's like $30 Canadian.
Okay.
So it doesn't, why for some reason, why does it not say the UK price?
Oh well, I will
It's
figure
by
out
a
what that means.
UK author, by the British author. Okay, that's weird.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but if you bought it in Canada, then did you buy it in Canada?
I think I bought it online.
Yeah, but like, was it Canadian? Because if it's going to Canada, it'll probably have your price on it. I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, we should end this
Also,
talk.
yeah. Also, wait.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Sorry. Speaking of also, because I was speaking a bit about Devin Hansen, I
Mhm.
think it's kind of, I feel like it's important to mention a couple of things in it. Um, because if you think about it, one of the main events in Dear Evan Hansen is a boy's suicide,
Yes.
which is important to note, and how we see that character through the lens of everyone else. So you don't really
Mhm.
know
No.
why he did it or like what happened, but what the show does is explore the aftermath, like the effect that it had on his family.
Mhm.
And in particular, what I want to talk a little bit about is his dad,
Mhm.
because for a lot of the first kind of half of the show, his dad just represses and represses. Like his
Yeah.
mom talks about, oh, he didn't even cry at the funeral. Like you're not seeing anything
Mhm.
that shows that his son has died. He's just like going on repressing and bottling it up because he's supposed to be strong, right? He's the dad of the house.
Yeah.
He needs to like, you know, and then it kind of, the song You Will Be Found, right?
Mhm.
Which
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I think a lot of people do. It's a really like great You Are Not Alone kind of anthem
Yeah.
song. So that's the song, the Act One finale song, which goes into the interval. And during the middle of that song, which completely threw me off guard when I first saw the show, you see his dad, because the song is kind of Evan doing his speech online about him saying, we
Mhm.
don't want you to feel alone anymore. Like a lot of people go through this
Yeah.
in regards to like Connor and his suicide. And you see his dad looking at the video online, reading all the comments, and he literally just breaks down into tears, like
Yeah.
in the middle of the stage. And it's like he finally reached that breaking point where he's allowed himself to cry, um, which just caught me and I feel like most of the audience off guard because it's heartbreaking to
Mhm.
see that he's been like repressing and bottling all his emotions about his son's death. And then it reaches its height. at that Act 1 finale, and you just see him completely break down.
Yeah.
Especially because it's live theatre, you're seeing someone cry in front of you.
And
that's like, I don't know, it's just crazy. But yeah, that was the main thing I wanted to talk about.
Okay. It's good. It's good to mention that.
Yeah. Anything else? Or are we good?
I think we're good. I think so. This is a good talk. I mean,
I don't fucking know. Sorry. I will check what our next episode is.
Well, do we have book history or anything?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just gonna check what our next episode is so I can say it. Because I don't know if it is One Last Stop or if it's the interview.
We have a photo saved of the schedule.
Blah 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 blah. Hello, what is wrong with you?
Let's see.
Oh, go
One
away.
Last Stop. Yeah, One Last Stop is next.
Yeah, it is. Let me go back to Zoom. Okay. Are you okay with plugging the socials?
Yeah, of course, I can do that.
Got,
Sign up.
Am I okay to start?
Yeah, of course, go for it.
Okay, cool. So thank you for joining us for this episode where we delved into male mental health. So just let us know your opinions on it. And if you need any help, we're going to link some resources and some hotlines that you can go to get that help and see how you can get some healthier coping mechanisms.
And we'll put...
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
We'll put links to the books you mentioned in the description.
Yeah.
So if you want to go check them out, you can.
Yeah, cool. So our next episode is going to be a book episode, and we're going to be talking about One Last Stop, which is written by Casey McQuiston. So yeah.
Same author who wrote Red, White, and Royal Blue. And
the film is coming out, I'm not sure when, but they finished filming it. So
probably within, I think, next year, 2023?
I'd say next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
That'll be very exciting to see how that plays out.
Anyway, you can contact us through our email or our social media. Our email is the.burrow.pod@gmail.com. And you can follow us on all of our socials, which I'll put in the description, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram.
Yeah.
And on TikTok and Instagram, we post like behind the scene reels or little TikToks that we make for fun. So you can enjoy those.
Yeah. Our recent one was of me bullying you and you bullying me.
Which is as we do all the time. Yeah, we bully each other.
Basically, just a bigger insight into our discourse section.
Yes.
Because that's just us arguing on the day.
Just us. We argue all the time. Very great friendship.
Not in a bad way. No, but if you think about it, have you really reached that level of friendship if you don't just hate on each other?
True.
Like me hating is showing you I love you. Do you know what I mean?
It really does show. Truly.
Like that's me and my sister's relationship in a nutshell. Just us like bullying each other. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, thanks for joining us and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you. Bye bye. Stop recording.
I don't know what that was.